Video is starting. Okay. Hello. I hope everyone is having a good day today. It is day 7. Yes, 7. Had to look at the calendar. Day 7 of 21 for 21 days of celebration. And today's been a little interesting for me, unlike most days. Interesting for me. Um, by way of emotions. So today I'm actually grateful for, I'm gonna say grateful for emotions. That's gonna be like the theme, the topic. Um, so grateful for emotions and grateful for tools and resources when emotions come up. So we'll talk about tools and resources another day, but um, I'll focus on emotions today because for most of my life I have not had a, I'll say, healthy relationship with emotions. I actually think most of us don't have a very healthy relationship with emotions. You can forgive me for that generalization statement, but um, I think a lot of us aren't taught to deal with emotions, process emotions, allow ourselves to express them. Often we might not feel comfortable expressing them, so we, you know, act in a way that might not be appropriate with that, like with that feeling, with that emotion, or we just suppress and don't act at all. That was my choice for a lot of time, a lot of years. um, but yeah, so I had a few emotions come up today, that were like completely out of the ordinary. And I've been asking myself some questions throughout the day, like, where is this coming from? Why am I feeling like this? Because I'm usually don't feel like this. Um, and it's taken lots of years to get to the point where um, I didn't wear the emotions, just like claim them as my own and then wear them as if, that was what I needed to wear, like a t-shirt for the day. So, what I mean by that is getting to the point of saying, you know what, I'm experiencing this emotion. What is my body showing me? What is this situation showing me? Is there anything I need to know about how I'm feeling or why I'm feeling how I'm feeling? And, what can I do about it to either work through it or, um, just hold the fort down for now and then work through it later? um, what is this emotion in the first place? Like that was actually a hard one for me because I used to joke when I actually started getting into, actually energy work is where all of the emotion stuff really just the lid blew off. um, I like to joke and say that my, like, the number of emotions that I could actually name were probably like 5. So like just on one hand. Um, and it was like happy, sad, mad, frustrated, tired. Um, very simple, rudimentary. Um, I was not in touch with my emotions. I couldn't identify them. I was not in touch with them. I didn't have, healthy ways of processing them. And, a lot of times just ended up not not dealing. So I suppressed and pushed down and ignored and, just let it be for most of my life in, yeah, most of my life. So I'd say the last, let's see, what are we in? We're in 2022. Yeah, 2016 was actually when um, the top started to get ripped off. The band-aid started to get ripped off. It's actually a funny story. So, and I'll talk about like energy work on another day because that's like I could talk for days and months. Um, but actually, so like the first time I realized that, um, like emotions could just come out without, um, I'll say just on without command, like without control. Um, it was 2016. It was actually the fall of 2016 because I was in California. I was home for I think Thanksgiving. It was either Thanksgiving or Christmas. Anyway, I was home and I had just found out about this Reiki thing. And I was like, you know what? Let me find out what this is about. I had gone online, probably looked at Wikipedia or something, just for some basic information. And I said, you know what? Let me check this out. Let me see what this is about. So, go for the session. The lady, gets me on the table. She asks me some questions. And like nothing happened. Like I didn't feel anything while I was on the table, and I was like, okay, well, that was a waste of money. She said something about my throat being blocked, and she might have given me some like advice or something, but she basically just, you know, gave me some tips and sent me on my way. Um, Maybe 2 or 3 days later, I remember just out of nowhere started crying. Just started crying out of nowhere. Couldn't place it. Couldn't, like, just out of nowhere. And it was like bawling for what seemed to be no apparent reason. Um, and I remember feeling like I was completely crazy and out of control because I felt like that was the right thing to do. I felt like I should be crying and it felt good to get it out. I don't know what it was, but come to find out, that was like the beginning of kind of the emotions that had been pent up for so many years coming up and coming out. Now, little did I know, February 2017, I'd start Reiki training and like all the things started to open up. Um, but that November, kind of fall 2016 was like that first experience I had where I just cried uncontrollably, and it was so uncomfortable because I was someone who didn't emote. It was very foreign for me to cry, very foreign for anyone to see me cry. Like I was the strong one, I was, the tough one who always had it together. And that was just the way I was, the way that, everyone knew me to be. So for me to not be strong and not have it together and be just completely out of control, that was scary for me. That was actually, my mom was there a couple of times where I was crying, and she was like, well, what's wrong with you? And I said, I don't know, I just feel like I need to cry, so I just cried. And it was weird for her to see me cry like that because she no we didn't know what was going on. But I know now that that was just the beginning of many things to come. um, yeah, I didn't cry, I didn't express myself. A lot of times I didn't feel I had the right words. That was always my thing, was having the right words to express. So it's interesting that I say that I had, 5 emotions in my vocabulary. So growing up, kind of the one that was strong, the one that had it together, the one that, was kind of just chill and quiet and going about their business. Going from that to someone who, now can ask questions, identify the emotions, ask how I'm feeling, actually sit and process if I need to, understand the benefit and the cons of either processing or not, and then helping others to do the same and kind of helping others learn and, teach ways to do that for themselves is, it's a complete 180. And this kind of feeling of like frustration and aggression and anxiety, and um, there was one other that I was actually feeling earlier today. um, it just reminded me how grateful I am that, one, I'm able to identify identify the fact that I'm feeling something, because for so long I didn't have the words, I didn't have the vocabulary. And I know many of us we either don't have the words or we just don't know how to express. I know I remember telling a friend she was having a hard time having a conversation with her friend around I think bullying, I think it was. And she was like, I just don't know what to do. I don't think she, I don't think she's comfortable talking about it. I'm not quite sure. And one of the questions I asked back to her, I said, well, does she have the words to actually express? Like, is there another way that you can get her to kind of open up about it without forcing the words upon her? And it's, we talked about maybe different ways to do that, and, drawing or um, journaling, writing down in the child's language, and then having a conversation about that. But it made me think of all the times when I didn't have the words, and how frustrating that is when you're in a conversation with someone, or when you're in an argument and you're trying to defend your position, and you break down crying because you're frustrated, and you know frustrated equals whatever it equals. And if that's your default response, but you don't know how to express that to someone, and that's not the way that they think you should respond in that time, what happens? Confusion and shame and guilt and fear, and you feel uncomfortable. They might leave, so you might feel abandoned. Like, so many things can happen. And it just makes me really grateful for the fact that I can, you know, I sat with it and asked myself some questions. I asked if that was, you know, really how I was feeling. I was able to move through some things and feel a little bit better after the fact. But, you know, 5 years ago, I could not do that. And I'm really grateful for the fact that I've gotten to the place where I can do that and not judge myself for feeling a certain way. Because when our emotions shift, or when a belief pops up, or when, a thought comes up, it's not really something that we should judge ourselves for. It's something that we just need to inquire about. And for a long time, it was either a complete misunderstanding or judgment. Like, I don't want to say those are polar opposites. I don't know if that would be opposites on the spectrum, but those were generally the two responses that I would have for myself. Like, why am I feeling like this? Oh my gosh, I should know better. Those were kind of the thoughts that I would have. Or what do you mean you don't have the words to express yourself? You're an adult. It's like, yeah, well, if you don't spend your entire life expressing and emoting and in doing certain things, then how will you know? How do you know? Um, I also realized through kind of the last 5 or 6 years um, that we carry things for other people. We carry things for the people that are around us. We carry thoughts and beliefs and emotions and things we process for others, whether we want to or not. Um, and our bodies let us know that that is taking place. Oftentimes, we just don't know that the body is actually talking to us. We don't know that we can have a relationship with our body to conversate and to listen and have that back and forth, and really understand and get to the core of why you're feeling a certain way, or why your body is reacting a certain way, or even why someone else is reacting a certain way to you. So all of these things, are part of how I operate now, because I understand that, you know, my body, my psyche, my everything is kind of reacting to something else. So what is the trigger? What's the source, the core of what's going on? What is causing this feeling? How can I move through it and process it, and then keep moving to something else? And one of the things that I wish more of us would do is actually give ourselves the grace. I know I talked about grace the other day. Give ourselves the grace and the space to acknowledge that we're feeling a certain way, give ourselves permission and space to work through it instead of suppressing or playing a role or thinking that we have to, be the strong one or not, show emotion or, be macho because I'm, male versus female and females are emotional and males aren't, or, I'm a father or I'm a mother and I'm, not supposed to do this, or I'm in a certain location so therefore I definitely can't process or express myself. If we give ourselves kind of that grace and the space to do that, to work through whatever it is and feel the emotion that we're experiencing, we can realize that it doesn't actually have to control us, that it is a temporary circumstance, and we can move through it just like we're, driving down the road. You drive through the what do you call that? I'll just say toll booth. Just like you drive through a toll booth. Oh, okay, I hit an emotion, let me figure it out. Drive right through it. So treating it like that instead of treating it like it's, doomsday or a death sentence, that I have to sit in this emotion and let the emotion become me and overcome me and everything that I do for that day. What would the world look like? What would the world feel like if we were able to take those few minutes to be accountable for our emotions, to ask the questions of, you know, I'm feeling a certain way. What is this about? Why am I feeling this way? I wasn't feeling this way 2 hours ago. What happened? What shifted? What can I do about it now? Is there something I need? Is it something that someone else needs to do for me? Do I need anything to work through this? But giving ourselves the permission to say, you know what? I'm not going to say not okay, but I need to work through this because one, it's temporary, so I can work through it. But two, there might be something for me to learn or acknowledge that I'm potentially bypassing or overlooking in this moment, and that's why I'm feeling this way. So there's so much to be grateful for me, for emotions, because like I said, I was carrying things for other people. I didn't know how to process. I didn't know how to express, and didn't know how to or was afraid to. Those are two big ones. Didn't know how to or was afraid to. And carried a lot of guilt and shame and judgment and fear and just so many words, anxiety, um, so many words, so many labels of how others would perceive me if they knew how I felt, if I didn't have the right words to express how I felt. So I would be very perceptive about others and then adapt my own behavior to make sure everything was kind of, the waters were calm, everything was cool. So I paid a price for that. We all paid a little teeny tiny price for that. I paid a price for that. Um, but it's all good. It's a learning journey. We're learning and growing day by day. But yeah, I'm grateful for the emotions that flared up today because it's an opportunity to look into it and um, to grow, to see what's behind it, and to, really express it and feel it. That's another thing that I wouldn't let myself do before, was feel. So feel the anger, feel the sadness, feel the frustration, like really feel it, to get in touch with it and see what it's trying to do, what it's there to do. And sometimes that comes out in different ways. Sometimes it comes out in different ways, but just giving yourself permission to do it in whatever way feels best in that moment, and just honor that and not judge it. I know I've I actually gave a client um, homework after a session, or it's for her to do after a session, and we were talking about emotions, we were talking about expressing, and she was saying she felt so on edge sometimes, and anger was really, really big for her. Um, and she said she didn't feel comfortable expressing anger. And one of the things I recommended to her, and I said, you're going to think I'm crazy by saying this, but I want you to find some place where you feel comfortable to just let out a just belly yell. Like just yell and scream as long as you feel like your throat can handle it. And she was like, "What?" I said, "Your body needs to release a whole bunch of stuff. And if you can't express all the emotions that are in there, then guess what? They're going to stay pent up, and they're going to wreak havoc in ways that you don't want them to wreak havoc." So she said, "Okay, I'll try it." And like a week or two later, she sent me an email and she said, "I did it. I did it. I screamed. I did it when my family wasn't home. I got in the shower and I just yelled and it felt so good." She was just amazed at how much better she felt after just letting it go. Like no like no holds barred. She was like, "I was in the shower and I just let it rip." And I said, "Good for you. How do you feel?" And she was like, "I feel great. I feel amazing." So we have to give ourselves permission to do stuff like that instead of saying, "No, no, 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 I don't get angry," or "No, no, I don't get sad," or "No, no, I don't," whatever the thing is. We pay a price if we don't give ourselves permission to process and work through these things because it matters. So, today I am grateful for emotions. I'm grateful for tools to work through emotions. I'm grateful for the wherewithal to ask questions when an emotion doesn't quite feel right for the moment. But even if it does feel right, where is it coming from and what do I need to work through it to enable myself to just move through my day with ease and have a little fun too? So, tell me about your relationship with emotions. Are you able to be grateful when they come up? Because that means, yes, something to look at, something to, understand and grow from and get to the other side of. Or are you someone who, like I used to be, dreads the emotion and doesn't want to talk about it because that's mushy stuff and that's not your thing? Let me know. Because getting to the place of gratitude for emotions can be a huge, 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 huge game changer. So I am interested in what you have to say. I look forward to all the comments, and I will see you tomorrow.